I think you're going to absolutely love today's video. I'm using 5 different prophecies predictions talking about the subject of the future changes and how we can change it, affect it. This is amazing stuff. Edgar Cayce is one of those, of course. And I want you to know I used 10 publications, and everything I'm going to share with you today is quoting exactly what those sources said. All right. So we're not speculating here. I'm also going to share with you a few things that Chris Bledsoe said in my last video, also quotes from actual interviews, and what he says about that March 15th through 20th, what it means, how he came up with that date. I want to reinforce this because some of you have seen other interviews with him and he has changed dates. I'm going to explain what that is. But here's what's so exciting. We're going to talk about what's happening right now in this critical 2026 and how you can actually use your abilities. I'm going to share that with you in this video. You're going to find out how you can change absolutely anything. And this is not law of attraction. These are actual techniques and ways of using the quantum field in real life that work. You ready for this? Because big things, wonderful things are happening right now. Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through fear and master this teaching platform, this illusion. Yeah, it's very difficult. So congratulations on being here. I hope you'll subscribe, click the bell so that you get notified, because I'm going to just give you more and more of facts and quotes and things that have been written through the centuries, and of course the most recent ones that tell us what's actually going on and how we personally can affect all of it. Those of you who want to join my private membership, go down in the description. Some of you have asked about my makeup. That product should show up here, so you can click on it and go find out all the great ingredients. I'm always using higher choices in everything I purchase, so go in the description and you can find all those too. Get away from the toxins of the world. It is time to purify, and we're going to talk about that right now. Let's start with the last video I did about Chris Bledsoe. If you don't know who he was abducted over 20 years ago and went through this horrific ordeal of talking about it and being ostracized, as most abductees do. And so he ended up saying, I quit. And at that point, a golden lady appeared to him, who he labeled as Mother Mary, but has later on said, really, she is the representative, the ultimate consciousness of Source, which includes all of those symbols, including Mother Mary. She shared information about what our future looked like. If you haven't seen that video, I suggest you go watch it. I go into detail. And I used an exact conversation. One was on Jesse Michaels, and the other one was on RJ of the Y-Files. Why did he pick March 15th to 20th as something big happening, which he doesn't know exactly what it is, but he knows a new consciousness is going to show up, a new knowledge, and the divine feminine will show up, and that we're going to get assistance to shift humanity into consciousness. It will still be free will choice, and we're going to talk about how you can do that today. So why those dates? A beautiful green orb appeared in December, of which he filmed, and he put it in a computer because it looked like it had codes in it, and with some scientific experts, he decoded it, and it came up with symbols of these dates. So he believes that something significant is going to happen. He's going to be in Paris on March 20th because apparently there's a place in France where every 20 to 30 years, something huge happens, a miracle. He hasn't given a lot of details, but I'm telling you that we're going to be watching March 15th through 20th to see if anything happens, anything significant. The other date he gave, and if you've been watching him, you know, the Golden Lady predicted that when the red star Regulus, it's actually a blue star, but it appears as a red star over the Sphinx at dawn, a new knowledge will emerge. Something significant will be gifted to the planet. Now, he's looking up when that happens. And actually, nobody has really come up with a date. He's going to be in Egypt October 7th, or right around that time, to see if this thing actually happens. So the dates, as we know, are never in stone. So just remember, don't hang on to those dates. Portals are open, things will happen, planets align, and you have a choice to shift right now. So let's talk about Edgar Cayce, ARE, the Association for Research and Enlightenment. It's a nonprofit organization that is preserving and promoting Edgar Cayce's readings and everything about him. He's an American psychic, and I'm using their actual sources. Those of you who are really into it, I'm actually using their sources, thousands of reading, over 14,000 healings, and also predictions and prophecies for a future. And we're going to go over that in more detail than I have in my past videos. So a lot of his readings, and we'll go over each one, were regarding tectonic shifts, magnetic pole reversals, and the generation born between 2000 and 2026. That's interesting. This is new one. I haven't heard this. And so we're going to take these teachings, and though he did not give dates very often, we're applying it to what's going on right now that he predicted. So we know we are in the era of the changes that he spoke of. And that's why I always say it's convergence, actually not a date. So remember that. We're in it right now. We're going to talk about that because proof that all these things are telling us things are coming to the surface. Society is changing. We're going into community, and others will fight harder to keep the old world, the materialistic world. And those are the two earths that Dolores Cannon spoke of. She's not in here today, but I got some other really great sources. The first question I had was, what are the teachings about future prediction and spiritual choice that can change it? I want to know all these 10 sources that we're looking at. The Hopi, Isaiah, I've got all kinds of good ones in here. What did they all say? I want to see what the consistent response is about this future. How can we change it? Every source suggests that future predictions are not fixed certainties, but are glimpses into probable futures. I say it in every video, and my whole channel is about you and I creating the change for a new world. Now, Chris Bledsoe said something in his interview with RJ, and he said, I now believe that we are going into the golden era and there will not be a cataclysmic event, and that anything close to that will be stopped by other beings who will not allow it because it affects all of them. Now we're crossing our lines. I see us going into a new era. I see it happening now. That's music to my ears because he hasn't said that in a very long time. So what do these sources say? Humanity has the power to redefine these outcomes and shift from a path of destruction to one of peace. That's all you need to know. But we're going to talk about how we do that and what each of these sources say about that switch. So ancient and modern seers, including the prophet Isaiah today and Edgar Cayce, are described as having the ability to project their senses into parallel roads of time. And that's why we don't know dates. There are parallel roads of time, which we switch constantly. Okay? So if anybody tells you it's an exact date, we can only watch and see what might happen there, but we're still in charge. So if somebody gives you something negative, guess what? You're in charge of changing it. Yes, you alone, you're that powerful. So let's talk about Isaiah's dual visions. Isaiah often provided two conflicting visions. You could say, well, wait a second, they're changing their mind because as Chris Bledsoe has changed his mind, because we're changing the future, and so those predictions are changing. Does this make sense? It's not, oh, they were wrong. It's like, guess what? We changed it. The date, it's changing. And that's what he's getting. So he may change it again according to what we do in our choices. This is very important, my friend. Two conflicting visions, Isaiah, for the same period, one of global catastrophe, no news there, and another of peace and healing. We keep hearing this. This is interpreted not as a chronological sequence, but as two viable quantum possibilities. All right, this isn't a pathway that is, it's a possibility of choice available for the same moment in history. It's not that we're going to go down this road and then we go into golden era. It's like if we don't want to go in total conflict, then we make a different choice and we go into this timeline and it looks completely different. And all those things we talked about aren't happening. I'm also going to talk about the catastrophic events predicted for the planet. Now, I gave you a hint of that. Certain countries have conducted over 2,000 nuclear tests. That's a direct hit on our beautiful Mother Nature, our Earth. That's like punching her 2,000 times really hard, and everything around that is affected. That is a choice, and these have to end. We can no longer allow this. We have to speak up. Those in charge who are making those negative decisions that are polluting our planet, we have to be known and say no more. But we always have to be on the high frequency and peace. Edgar Cayce's testing period. Cayce predicted a series of Earth changes and a polar shift that started in 1998. He did give that year. However, his later readings noted these changes could be gradual rather than cataclysmic. Did you know that? Yeah, he changed it later on. Why? Our frequency changed and the collective changed, depending on how individuals applied spiritual laws to life challenges. That is the key to everything. All right. We can avoid earthquakes. We can avoid all of these cataclysmic earth events. We are one with her. We do control that. All right. The Bible code. This is super cool. Even encrypted predictions in the Torah that describe apocalyptic scenarios are reportedly accompanied by the reoccurring question, will you change it? Have you heard about this? Greg Braden, he was big on the Bible codes. There's some really good videos, pretty old videos on this. What is the Bible code? They found codes in there that actually predicted things like 9/11, all kinds of things. It's pretty mind-blowing. You want to go check that out. Choice points in the Isaiah effect. The transition between different future outcomes occurs at what quantum physics calls choice points. And that's today's whole focus are the choice points. These are windows of opportunity where the veils between parallel paths are thin, allowing a leap from one outcome to another. And this is when we talk about our veils are thinning. I'm under a blanket. I don't know what's going on out there. I wish I was on the beach, on the beach. And then, of course, I'm on the beach, but I got this blanket over my head. And when I release it, I'm on the beach. This is how it works. Veils are thinning. You're realizing that all exists here and you're shifting. The veils are thinning. The veils are illusion. Let's talk about choices and the Isaiah effect. This is defined as the ancient science of changing the future by the choices made in each moment of the present. This is why I tell you guys every thought, everything you eat, everything you purchase, every judgment, every separation, taking sides, boom, 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 you're changing the future. It emphasizes that collective choice in the present attracts a specific mansion or outcome into physical reality. You know, this is the first time I've heard that. What do I always talk about? The mansion. That is like mind blowing for me. I never knew that this existed. This is a quote. A mansion, a specific mansion. Why? It's a reality. My father has many mansions. We're in a reality. We can shift mansions. There are still frequencies and floors in that. There's a penthouse for the high frequency. So every reality, think about this. So if we shift reality as a collective, are there still people doing nasty stuff? Yes, because they're still in the basement. That mansion still has a basement. Even though we're in a higher collective choice, there are still people who make choices within that. Allow it. It's their teachings. And if you say they shouldn't, and when are they going to, you're still in separation and you're in the basement too. I know you don't think so, but I want good things. Guess what? If you want good things, you will accept people and allow it and shine your light, show the new way, co-create the new way, and then they will have choices and walk away. Always be there for their choice. All right? Somebody said, does that mean we allow this? And I named some horrible things. Somebody said, no, of course you don't. You step in and you give them the choices. I'll give you an example. I love animals, and there are groups that go over to foreign countries and they have the dog meat. They eat dogs, right? And farmers are collecting all these dogs and they breed them and then they go sell them. What did these animal groups do? They didn't go over and punish people. They went to the farmers and said, we would like to purchase all of these animals, of course, but here's the other thing. We'll only do this once. We will give you training and skills so that you can do something that will earn more money than even selling these dogs. And we'll give that to you for free. It was a positive, positive, positive. This is the kind of change I'm talking about. They sold the dogs. They saved all the dogs. They brought them over here to the US. They gave these farmers training. They got new skills. They were out of the market. This is the co-creation I'm talking about. Hopi parallel paths. Let's talk about the Hopi. Hopi prophecy describes two paths. Here we go again. One that leads to chaos, another that remains strong and healthy. The time of purification, current global unrest. That's what the purification is, unrest. It's not peace. It is the purification and everything coming to the surface that is not positive. This current unrest is viewed as a barometer for which path humanity is choosing. So you're going to see the unrest. That's a choice. You don't have to participate in it. You're going to see people changing their lives, what they consume, what they eat, what they think, how they act, how they treat each other. That will be the humanity choice, and it will be reflected in a new world and one that's still destructive. And we will exist in the mansion together, just on different floors. Does this make sense? Let's talk about spiritual choice through the lost mode of prayer. The primary mechanism for changing a predicted future is a specific form of spiritual choice known as the fifth mode of prayer. What? The fifth. Hopi, the fifth. Cayce, the fifth. Everybody talks about the fifth. And here it comes again. This mode differs from petitionary, that's asking, or ritualistic prayer in its use of feeling. I want you to know this. Here's how it works. If you want your prayer to work, you can't separate yourself from it. I want it. Okay, let's talk about this. What do the Hopi say? Feeling is a catalyst. Effective prayer requires the union of thought, feeling, and emotion. Instead of asking for a change, I've been teaching this for years to you guys. Instead of asking for a change, which acknowledges a lack, you're focused on what I don't have, what I'm unhappy with, right? This is tough, but you can do this. This teaching instructs individuals to feel as if the prayer has already been answered. So you imagine the other reality, that shift of where you're not suffering, you're not upset, this is who you are, you're already in it, and you know this exists. You're not ignoring it or denying it. You just say, I'm already in this reality, and you feel it. You feel yourself in that new home or with that new job, and that your bank account is full, or your body is healed, or you have healthy relationships. It's okay to ask for these things. That's another thing. I'm not worthy. Get over it. Oops. You know what this is. So let's talk about quantum leaping. This is cool. By assuming the feeling of a desired outcome, such as peace or healing, individuals address the non-physical origins of a situation, attracting a new quantum overlay that replaces the existing reality. That's what quantum leaps are. Pretty cool, huh? Let's talk about mass prayer. When a group focuses on a common feeling such as peace, it relieves stress in the collective field of consciousness, which can prevent predicted wars or disaster. It can prevent all of them. We can do it now. Don't be thinking we're going into it. You are now contributing with that thought to what I don't want, but you're creating it. An example cited is a 1998 mass prayer vigil that synchronized with a rare military stand-down order during the Iraq crisis. The science of interconnectedness. These teachings are underpinned by the belief that there is only one of us here. There is only one of us here. In this unified view, human consciousness directly influences physical reality. Imagine what you can do if you just shift over and stop focusing on what's wrong. They're doing this, and then saying, guess what? If this is what I desire, I have to co-create it, live in it. You have to live it. You can't say, I hate pollution, and they're drinking out of plastic, okay? You have to make the choices. Go in my description. I got a ton of choices down there for you. Let's talk about DNA and matter. I'm actually going to do a separate video on DNA because I found out some amazing things. All right. Maybe that'll be my next one. Experiments such as the DNA phantom effect suggest that human DNA influences the behavior of light particles. The DNA, which are photons, providing a laboratory verified link between human vibration and the physical world. There's a whole experiment where they placed DNA, it changed the particle into a wave, and it affected the physical world. Even when they removed the DNA, it remained the same. It changed reality. The DNA. This is amazing. I'm going to do a whole video because that's super cool. Internal peace as external reality. To end suffering or war on a global scale, individuals must first achieve that state within their own bodies, thoughts, and feelings. You're in charge. Don't be blaming anybody. The vision of peace, the metaphorical mountain of Isaiah, then acts as a refuge that destroys the web of conflict woven over nations. Destroys it. It was a choice. It's a choice point. The lost mode of prayer, called the fifth mode, changes the future by utilizing human emotion as a directive to choose from an array of existing quantum possibilities. Again, rather than asking for a change which inadvertently acknowledges the state of lack, this ancient science instructs individuals to feel as if the desired outcome has already occurred. I'm repeating that again because I want you to know you have to go into that state of being. Imagine it, create it, and take the action. You kids, I see myself with money, and then you sit there and, you're not doing a damn thing. So let's talk about the quantum basis, parallel futures and choice points. The sources that I went into explain that modern quantum physics supports the ancient view that many possible futures exist simultaneously for any given moment, any split second. These are sometimes called mansions or overlays. I'm so blown away by the mansion thing. Choice points. These are specific windows of opportunity where the veils between these parallel paths are thin. Now, I've been discussing that. I gave you February, the month of miracles. We talked about December when there was a portal that opened. Things line up and shift just like a program does to give you an opportunity. So now I'm going to gift you the little treasure chest, and you have a wand, and it shows up and then it disappears. That's how it works. Choice points, they're openings for you. The mechanism, feeling as a catalyst. We're going to go back to feeling. The union of thought, feeling, and emotion is the lost mode of prayer. Redirecting focus. Quantum physics suggests by redirecting our focus, our attention, we bring a new course of events into focus while releasing an existing one that no longer serves us. Stop watching the negativity. Listen to the people who are telling you that we're on a higher path, because you're going to choose that and you'll actually exist in that. When you watch the other and you get depressed and you're like, why am I watching this? You're participating in it, you're entangled, and you personally will be in that old world. Don't do it. That's the algorithm I told you. Everything you watch, you say, you think, you're creating an algorithm that sends you more of that. Gratitude over petition. This mode replaces petitionary prayer with gratitude. I have. That's what I have. This morning I got out, I did my usual thing. I walked barefoot, earthing they call it. I look straight at the sun for at least 30 seconds, let that red light in. I do it every day, and I'm grateful. Asking for something reinforces its absence, right? This is why you guys say prayer doesn't work for you. Giving thanks acknowledges that the outcome already exists as a potential that you are now choosing to experience. So the Isaiah effect and collective changes when this mode of prayer is practiced. Know that it is done on a mass scale. It creates a field effect of consciousness that can relieve collective stress and prevent predicted disasters. 10 sources I went to. Had a lot of science in these sources. Studies documented that mass prayer can measurably reduce crime, traffic accidents, and even military conflict. Yes, and as soon as they end the prayer, those stats go back up. DNA and matter, the phantom effect. DNA is a bridge. Laboratory experiments have shown that human DNA can influence the behavior of photons, shaping them into regular patterns. Emotion in DNA. Further research indicates that focused feelings of deep love can change the physical shape of DNA. Amazing. Because human DNA influences the matter around it, and human emotion influences DNA, the lost mode of prayer serves as a sophisticated internal technology to manipulate the fabric of the physical world. This isn't woo-woo, just stuff. The physical world directly changes. And if you're familiar with the Maharishi effect, studies have documented that when a small percentage of population, as few as the square root of 1%, practices unified prayer, there's a statistically measurable reduction in crime, accidents, and social conflict. So let's talk about those cataclysmic events that Edgar Cayce spoke about, right? Healing the earth, because the earth acts as a mirror for human consciousness, the healing of collective emotions, such as shifting from fear to love. My whole channel is about breaking through it, can produce gentler weather patterns and reduce the severity of geophysical shifts. All right? This is science. As physicist Richard Feynman noted, it is impossible to predict what will happen, Only the probability of different events, collective choice, alters these odds. Scientists say we can give you the probabilities as soon as we switch, because when you switch your frequency, you have different actions, right? Okay, different actions are we're not going to blast off bombs anymore. Different actions are I'm not going to torture animals in these factory farms. I'm not going to eat those. So we take the action because we're on a higher frequency. We don't physically want to do that. So the action alone changes the reality because we are no longer the same person behaving that way. Okay, this is why you have to act on this higher frequency. You can't just wish it or ask for something outside yourself. Again, that is saying what I don't have. So let's go over what the choice points are. They are specific windows of opportunity. We're going into them. So when you see me use dates, these are suggested points by predictions, prophecies, science, windows of opportunity in time where the course of an event can be changed. This is across the board. Nothing is in stone, right up to the last split second, allowing individuals or humanity to leap from one possible future into a different path. The term was coined by Hugh Everett III in 1957 to describe moments where a bridge is created between the present course of events and a new path leading to different outcomes. Parallel roads. The sources I use describe time as a series of parallel roads or paths of possibility. All 10 of them referred to that. Convergence, I talk about that. Choice points occur at specific intervals where these roads of time bend and approach one another. Now, I use that and I use dates with Edgar Cayce because I'm going by convergence. He said this and this and this, and it's all happening now. So February, miracles, it can happen for you. Thinning veils. At these points, the veils or membranes between these different futures become very thin. That's happening now, sometimes even touching, making it easier to choose a new course for the future by jumping from one path to another. This is what's happening right now. And some of you are feeling it. In December, I had a huge shift. I'm revamping everything. As you probably, if you're watching my channel, have seen, I'm going more into really focusing on our future and making it happen according to your individual choices. So when choice points occur, when conditions arise that allow for a shift in perspective or belief, which acts as the catalyst for the leap. The sources highlight several specific times when these points occur during the turning of the ages, the 2020-26 window, a threshold between worlds. A generation born during this time is said to have incarnated specifically to catalyze a shift in consciousness and break old karmic cycles. That's a new one. I've never heard that. The Hopi intersection describes two parallel paths. They teach about 2/3 of the way along these paths. There is a vertical line, an intersection that allows people to move freely between the path of chaos and the path of peace. No one's ever left behind. It's your choice. Once this point is passed, the paths diverge permanently. Now that's the Hopi. Choice points are often preceded by purification, such as earthquakes, floods, famines, and social unrest, which act as barometers telling humanity that it's time to return to a true path. Those earth cataclysms will back off greatly or end according to our frequency. This is consistent through all these 10 sources that were directly affecting it. It doesn't just happen like we have to move. That's the Edgar Cayce prophecies based on a low frequency choice, and that changed. He said it will be gradual and that we don't have to experience that. We are one with planet Earth. Specific prophetic dates, the end of the Mayan Great Cycle was 2012. It was identified as a major choice point. Okay, the Bible code reportedly highlights the Hebrew year for 2012 with the question for humanity, will you change it? That was a big year, 2012. Dolores Cannon talked about that. That's when we started this big transition. Ultimately, the 10 sources that I use suggest that choice points occur in each moment of the present through our individual choices, though they are most powerful when collective choices are made during these rare historical windows. Do you get this? Practice it. We're in charge. It's happening. There are groups stepping in to change things, whether you think it's right or wrong. The nasty's coming up to the surface and we're going to skim it off. It's no longer acceptable. And those of you who say, should we just stand around and watch? I said, are you? Because if you are, that's your choice. You can take action in every area of life. You must take the action. Are you ready for this? I'm going to go into the DNA studies that show that our DNA alone changes with our thoughts and frequency, and then changes this. Science. We're going to hit that with science. So I hope that you'll join my private membership. I'm actually doing a live private video tomorrow for my members. You get all my videos early, and we have exchanges in there. And also in my description, you guys have asked this. In my description, I have non-toxic tooth bites. The toothpaste that I use doesn't come in plastic. I have water cleansers. I have cleaning supplies. I have everything that's non-toxic, non-plastic, and you get discounts. Go and explore all of these, including landria.com free inspiration. That is going to send you into some free masterclasses, and I'm going to launch the Conscious Creator Vault. Every 30 days, you're going to learn how to align your soul, how to live a sustainable life, how to earn in a world that no longer pollutes and is very unsatisfactory for you. Please share these videos and tell YouTube and the world we want and know that we are powerful. We want the empowerment, and we're here to assist one another, not to criticize, because you're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.